Hey everybody, welcome back to When Harry Met Board Games, where we feed our people with relatable content and our victory condition is your satisfaction. I'm Harry and today we'll be having another playthrough. Today I'll be playing through this game right here, Elder Sign. This is a 1 to 8 player cooperative game that takes place within the Cthulhu or H.P. Lovecraft universe. This is kind of like a dice implementation of bigger games such as Arkham Horror or Eldritch Horror. I will be playing this game solo, and this is what the game looks like set up. So first of all, we have the entrance sheet right here, which is a location. We're all in a museum, and this is the entrance to the museum, and it's a special location that players can go to activate certain abilities, which I will explain when the time comes up. Also, we have the clock right here, which first of all serves to tell you what turn it is, and also every time it strikes midnight, we flip over a new mystery card, or mythos cards, I should say, right here, and these implement or instigate different actions, occurrences, usually for the bad, sometimes occasionally for the good of the players. We also have a bunch of different elder ones or ancient ones to choose from in this game. Here I'll be playing against Azathoth, so he's the main bad guy, the big bad one. And this is what the card looks like. First of all, here it tells us a special power, absolute destruction. If Azathoth awakens, the game ends and the investigators lose. So this ancient one in particular has an additional way of winning. He just has to awaken. The other ancient ones, usually if they awaken, you still have a chance of defeating them before that. Now, how do they awaken? Right here we have a doom track. And the doom track for each of the ancient ones is different. For Azathoth in particular, there are 16 spaces. So once each of these 16 spaces get filled with one of these doom tokens, it triggers the awakening of the ancient one. And in the case of Azathoth, that leads to the loss or the defeat of all the players. Also, this number here in the center of 14, that is how many elder signs, the namesake of the game, a player or players must collect collectively, in this case I'm playing solo, in order to defeat the elder one. So I have to acquire 14 of these elder signs in order to win the game. Also here it says, attack, the end is near, Azathoth destroys the world. So he doesn't have a particular attack power like some of the elder ones, because he's not actually going to engage in power with you. He automatically wins if he awakens. So there is that. We have set aside a couple of tokens here. As I mentioned, we have the elder signs. We have some clue tokens, which are very useful for the re-rolling of dice. Again, this is a dice-based game in the Arkham Horror universe. And finally, we have the dice itself, 6 main green dice, which we'll be mostly rolling, and these yellow and red special dice, which will occasionally be rolled. Okay, so we also have some other decks aside from the Mythos deck right here. We have the Allied deck, the Spell deck, the Common Item deck, and the Unique Item deck. We also have a deck here of other world cards, and these will be opened sporadically throughout the game. And finally, we have the adventure cards, which are basically the storyboard and the physical space that we're moving along in the game. And we shuffle them up and we deal out 6 in 2 rows of 3 to start the starting setup and board for the game. So this is how it looks like. Now, each player gets a character. With that character comes one of these character sheets and these small little tokens, which are the equivalent of your little player piece. You'll be placing this around from location to location, indicating where your player is. So for this game, I will be Ashcan Pete. This card indicates your starting stats. For example, I have 4 stamina, or I should say 4 sanity, and 6 stamina. There's 2 different health currencies, and you could take damage in either one of these categories. So you grab the corresponding amount of tokens to indicate your health. Your maximum health never changes, and as you are losing and replenishing your health in these 2 different currencies, you'll be discarding tokens or gaining them back into your supply. So Ashcan Pete is the drifter. Now each character has a special ability. For Ashcan Pete, he has the scrounge ability. Each time Pete gains a common item or a unique item or a spell after the setup, going forward, he may choose to instead gain 1 clue token, 1 common item, 1 unique item, or 1 spell. So this makes Ashcan Pete very versatile, right? Whenever he gains one of those particular items, he could actually exchange it for another item instead if it's more to his benefit, right? Also, each character gets some starting items. In the case of Ashcan Pete, he gets a particular ally, and that is Duke. And who is Duke? Duke is none other than his dog, right? And it says here for Duke, you may discard Duke instead of suffering an adventure card's penalty. Very important for all of these cards here, the ally spells, common items, and unique items. These are one-time abilities that when you get these cards, you reserve them for whenever you see fit. You play them, you discard them. These are not assets that you keep for the remainder of the game, right? Like Eldritch Horror and games like that. All right, so that's pretty much it as far as setup. We are going to start the game. I also have the bag of randomized monster tiles in here for when they pop up. So we're going to start the game. We start the game at midnight. The first thing we do is reveal the first mythos card, and we read its midnight action, which is the top part right here. It says the arcane art. It says either add 1 Doom token to the Doom track, or the investigators as a group must discard 2 spells. Well, guess what? We don't have any spells to begin with, so there is no choice but to add 1 Doom marker to the Doom track. There we go. And there's also a lingering effect in each of these mythos cards. So for example, it says closes the doors. The next time the clock strikes midnight, discard all other world cards from play and do not replace them. So these are the other world cards. Right now, there's no other world cards in play. So I think I won't even try until this card is irrelevant to open up any other worlds. Because the other world cards are very available, very useful, I should say beneficial. They're very helpful because they give you ways of acquiring Elder Signs, which is the main purpose of this game. But they also increase the space of the board, which allows for the dispersion of different monsters and bad guys, which you actually want, because if they get too crowded up into these 6 cards here, then it becomes very difficult to defeat the monsters and or these adventures here. So we're not going to focus on that. Now, every time a player takes their turn, we're going to advance 3 hours in the clock. So the first thing you do on a player's turn is you grab your 6 dice, unless you have any cards that help you activate temporarily either a red, yellow, or even both of these dice at the same time. So the first thing we do is we have to choose a location. We can go to the museum's entrance here if we wanted to, but we're not going to do that. I'm going to go somewhere easy, right? Because this is the first turn of the game. We haven't really leveled up and acquired any abilities. So I'm looking at this place right here, the guided tour. And each of these cards, first of all, these adventure cards, has a name. It has a little bit of flavor text here. It says the docents shared a number of anecdotes about the museum's own strange history. So aside from the flavor text, you also have this number here, which indicates how many trophies this adventure card would get you once you complete it. And here you have 1. And all the adventures and the monsters you defeat are worth trophies for you in this game. And they always range anywhere from 0 to 2. And these trophies are very helpful for purchasing certain things when you go to the museum entrance location. So there is that. So, and also you have a number of tasks you have to complete. And each row indicates 1 task. And sometimes the task has 1 square, or it could have 2 squares, or even up to 3 squares. And it has a particular symbol which corresponds with dice symbols that you're going to be trying to roll to place onto these spots in order to signify that you've unlocked or completed these tasks. Now, whenever you see this arrow right here, it's very important. That means you must complete each of these tasks successively, 1 turn after another, from top to bottom. Usually with most adventure cards, you can complete the task in any order you like, but when you see this arrow, you must complete it from top to the middle to the bottom, right? Also on the bottom here, in this red square here, red rectangle, we have the consequences for failing this adventure. In other words, in this case, we have a sanity symbol and a stamina symbol. The adventurer here, or the detective here, the investigator here, will lose 1 sanity token and 1 stamina token if they fail this adventure. However, in this white rectangle here, you see some symbols indicating what would happen if they succeed in this adventure, and they would get those 2 little footprint symbols on the outer ends. They represent the clue tokens. And again, as I mentioned earlier, these clue tokens are very helpful because they allow you to re-roll 1 or more dice. And also in the middle, that little pistol symbol indicates common items, which are the yellow cards. Not quite as good as the unique items, but still very helpful. So I'm going to move my little player piece here to indicate that I'm in the guided tour. We're going to grab the 6 dice, and the first thing you do is you roll. There's going to be lots of rolling. So now I'm particularly trying to fulfill the top requirement, the top task right here, because again, this arrow forces me to take care of it or address it from top to bottom. So the first thing I need to do is get 2 of these magnifying glass or search symbols. Now, whenever you complete a task, whatever row you're addressing at the time has to be addressed within one particular roll. You cannot, it's not like Yahtzee, you cannot set aside just one and try to re-roll the other. If a task requires 2 or more dice, you need to roll those 2 symbols at the same time. In this case, each of these 3 tasks only require 1 die, so it's not too bad. So first of all, I look at all these here, and I will overpay because I did not roll any 2 of these symbols, this magnifying or search symbol, but I do have a 3 here, so I could overpay to complete that task. Now, I re-roll these dice, and every time you roll a die, you either have to use 1 or more for the task, or you have to set aside 1 every time you fail. All right, so now I'm looking for 4. And I have these 2 2s right here, and you could use multiple dice to fulfill these magnifying glass or search totals. So I use these 4 here to unlock that, and now the third task is one of those scrolls. So I will re-roll. I have 3 dice right here, and I've got a scroll. I'm off to a good start, guys. You guys give me good luck. Here we go. So I fulfilled all the requirements, all the tasks for this adventure. So the first thing is I will benefit from all, and every time you complete an adventure, you automatically go back to the entrance. I will gather these resources here. So I get 2 clue tokens for starters. I'll just add them here to my supply. And I can get a common weapon. Now, because I am Ashcan Pete, and my special ability allows me, if I get a common weapon or a spell or a unique item, to instead get a clue, a spell, a common weapon, or a unique item. So basically, I get to interchange one for the other. So instead of getting the common weapon, which is what is entitled to me, I'm going to use that to get the unique weapons because they are slightly better and a little bit harder to acquire. So there's that. Now, I gain this here in my player area as a trophy that, again, I could use later on if I go to the museum entrance and pay for different benefits or resources. So there's that. And now we replace this empty space right here, and we will advance the time here by 3 hours. So it goes all the way up. I didn't even have it at midnight. Oof. Or did I? Yes, here we go. It goes from midnight to 3 o'clock. And I'm done with my first turn. Now we'll move on to my second turn. And I'm going to go over here to the archives because this is a good weak spot. Early on in the game, again, you're not very leveled up. Yes, I do have a unique item, which I never told you guys what it is. I have the Flute of the Outer Gods. It says after rolling, you can discard this card to defeat a monster. So if there's a monster on your adventure card, you can discard this to defeat the monster and make it a little bit easier to accomplish or successfully fulfill that adventure. So I'm going to go here to the archives, which again is just 1 trophy worth. And it says here, the collection is not well documented. Who knows what's really in here? And we have all these tasks that we're trying to fulfill. In this case, there is no arrow, so I can fulfill them in any order I like. The consequence, if I fail, is I lose 1 sanity. But if I win, I gain 2 unique items. But again, remember, because I'm Ashcan Sam, I might mix and match that and get some other stuff instead. All right, so I'm here in the archives. I'm going to roll these dice. And let's see what I got here. I'm looking for the hardest thing. And the hardest combination to roll, honestly speaking, because there's not only one side of the die represents these, is the scroll and this, I think they refer to it as a peril symbol, right? That scary looking face right there on the right. So I'm going to use these to block this bottom task right here. And then I get additional rerolls to try to get the other 2 tasks. Here we go. All right, so I needed, oh, that's not good, guys. I did pretty bad. I needed either a scroll or a scroll and a 3, and I can't do that. So what happens is I failed, and I will set aside one of these dice. Now, some of these cards have a terror a terror symbol here. And what terror means is if ever you fail at a roll, which I just did, and if one of the dice, at least one of the dice you rolled, had a terror symbol, which looks like this right here. Let me show you the little tentacles there. If that were the case and you were on this adventure card, whatever consequences here, it would befall you, you would suffer it, right? But I am not on that place, I'm here. So I set aside one die, and now I need the perfect rolls in order to complete this, because I'm going to need at least 3 dice for this, and I only have 3 dice. So here we go. And it's not even going to be interesting, folks. I failed, and I will suffer the consequence. And again, the consequence here in the archive is that I lose 1 sanity. Okay, so I will remove one of these sanity tokens here to indicate that I'm a little bit less mentally sound. And we will advance the clock another 3 hours to 6 o'clock. All right, I'm going to try this again because it's very doable. I'm going to try this again. I just had a little bit of a little stroke of bad luck. I did really well with my first roll, but after that, it was downhill. All right, so here we go. This is not looking too good. Well, you know what? No, I'm going to use this scroll and this 3 search to fulfill this middle task right here. And now I'm going to re-roll these. And I've got, I got a scroll and this peril symbol, which I needed for the bottom task. Now I will re-roll these 2 right here. And I got a scroll, folks. I got exactly what I needed. So I fulfilled this. I will not suffer any more sanity. I place my little player piece back in the entrance. I will acquire this as a trophy. And again, I will get 1 unique item. And right here, I drew the Lamp of Alhazred, which gives me a bonus red special die, which are more, this is the most powerful die in the game, has the best symbols on it. And whenever I want to use that die, all I have to do is discard this card. Instead of getting an additional red unique item card, because most of these unique item cards, what they do is they give you that red die, right? But there is only 1 red die, so you're never going to play multiple of those necessarily at the same time. But if you get a common item, right there, folks, the lucky cigarette case. I'm feeling lucky, but I'm in no mood to smoke. This gives me an additional yellow dice, which is better than the green dice, but not quite as good as the red die. So that's really cool. So if I ever want a combo, I could discard both the yellow, both the lucky cigarette case and the Lamp of Alhazred in order to have 2 additional dice added to my pool. So this goes into my trophy supply. We replace this location or this adventure card with 1 right here, and we advance the time another 3 hours. So we're at 9 o'clock right here. All right. So now where do I want to go? I'm going to go to this additional week 1 because it's going to give me a clue token and potentially a spell unless I want to do something differently. But since I have a good amount of unique items and common items, I probably will go to the spell. So I'm going to go here to the remains of the High Priest. Again, just 1 trophy for me. But it says, the flavored text, I saw a brief fog on the inside of the glass before it quickly faded. That thing inside, it was breathing. And this card has a terror effect. I discard all dice showing the terror results. So again, terror effects, they take into effect every time you fail a task and one of the dice you rolled happens to have the terror symbol. And if I fail altogether this mission, I will lose a heart or a stamina. And if I win, again, I gain a clue token and a spell, or in my case, something else. So let's see here. We are not going to use any. This is very doable right here. So I am going to, I needed a scroll. I got a scroll and I need 6. I would have to use too much dice to get 6. So I am not going to do that, folks. Instead, I'm just going to get this peril symbol here, put it right there. And let's get some rerolls. Here we go. All right. So I got the scroll. Perfect, guys. And I got 3, 4, and you could combine as many of these magnifying glasses as you need to get the total desired. 6 worth of search and the little scroll right here. So I fulfilled this one right here. I will place this back in the entrance. I will get this as a trophy. I will get another clue token for rerolls, and I will gain a spell card. And we will replace this adventure card here. And let's look at what the spell I drew was. I have the Voice of Ra. After rolling, discard to change one die to the result of your choice. That's awesome. So again, all these cards are one-time abilities that you have to keep on discarding, but hopefully you keep on regaining and replenishing your supply. But that's a really helpful one. I could change any die to any result of my choice. All right, and now we advance the time or the clock 3 more hours, and the clock has struck midnight. So again, we look at the Mythos card, the current one. It says, it always has a midnight effect. Or a lingering effect. It says the next time the clock strikes midnight, discard all other world cards from play and do not replace them. There are no other world cards, so we're good. So now we will set this aside and we will reveal the next Mythos cards, which is the currently active one. It says keep friends close. Add 1 Doom token to the Doom track unless at least 1 investigator has an ally. And I still have my good and trustful friend Duke right here, so we are good. But let's look at the lingering effect. It says, when memories fade, the next time the clock strikes midnight, each investigator must discard 1 spell if able. So, I might want to use my spell before the next time because I'm not going to be able to use it anyways afterward. Okay, so now where do we want to go? I'm feeling pretty good. I got some reroll tokens. I got some good items and spells here. I'm wondering if I want to go somewhere. This one right here is a pretty good spot. The Hidden Passage will get me 2 Elder Signs. But I'm wondering if I should build up just a little bit more. Oh, really important, guys. I just forgot. So this card right here has an at midnight effect. Some of these adventure cards have at midnight effects. What it means is, if these are still in play whenever midnight hits, these effects take place immediately, and midnight just hit. So it says here, at midnight, a monster appears. So the first thing you do is, you randomly draw one of these monsters from inside whatever cup or bag you use. And right here, I've drawn this monster here, who is the Maniac. The flavor text says, smiling, he showed me where he had carved glyphs on his chest with a knife. And this guy's worth 1 trophy, and he has that symbol in order to resolve, the peril symbol. Now, when you are adding a monster, the first thing you're doing is you're looking for any available monster spaces, which are indicated by surrounding white trim on a box, right? So you have this white border surrounding a rectangular square or rectangular box here. And these are the first places or the priority places for placing a monster. So this one has a box here. This one has a box. This one has a box. Because this box actually has a peril, this guy here would cover it all up and replace it, right? So those are my 4. Oh, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them have a box. So I could choose from among these 4. And I'm going to look at one. I'm going to put this one right here. Because right now I want to get some Elder Signs. And this one here does not have an Elder Sign. Even though it does have another, it opens another world. You know what? I'm going to put this here. And this is still pretty easy. It's actually the same exact symbol to accomplish it because it just covers it up, the peril symbol. So I'm just going to place it right there. It doesn't change anything about that. And now I'm going to decide where I want to go. And speaking of, I might just want to go right here. So I'm going to go here to something has broken free. So first of all, it says, the ancient stone had weighed tons, and yet something had shattered it against the opposite wall of the gallery. And this has a terror effect, a pretty bad one. It says you immediately fail this adventure. And these are the tasks I need to complete in no necessary order because there is no arrow. I would suffer 1 stamina if I fail, but if I succeed, I would get a unique item, a spell, a clue token, and that symbol here means I add an additional monster to the adventure board. Okay, so I am here. I'm going to roll my 6 dice. I feel pretty good. Oh, I dropped these. Those don't count. Here we go. So let's see. Do I have what I need? Ooh, I have a terror symbol here. So at any point in this game, when you fail, which I just happened to do. Ooh, I don't want to fail, actually. I do not want to fail because, again, I would immediately fail the entire adventure if I fail. So instead of failing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a clue token to roll any dice, any amount of dice I want to re-roll them. So I'm going to set aside this 1 terror symbol. I need 2. I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to re-roll the other 5 dice right here. And I got the second one that I needed, so I fulfilled this task. Awesome. And now I'm going to roll these 4 dice right here, so that clue token was well spent. And I got this peril symbol right here. Awesome. So that's exactly what I needed to fulfill the card. So first of all, I get this monster for 1 trophy into my supply. I also fulfill this card, this adventure, and add it to my trophy supply as well. I'm going to get a unique item. Is that what I want? Yes, I'm going to get a unique item. Great. I got the Necronomicon, which again adds one of these red dice. But it says after using this card, you also gain 1 clue token. So it's actually a little bit better than that other card I have here, the Lamp of Alhazred. Okay, awesome. Now, what else? We add a spell. Let me add the spell. And I've got the Find Gate spell here. It says discard to draw 1 other world card and place it below the 6 adventure cards. So this is great in order to open other worlds. And I get a clue token. So the clue token I spent, I get it right back. And I add 1 more monster to the adventure board. So first of all, let me replace this adventure card right there. Let me draw 1 random monster. And I drew here one of the cultists, which is a 1 trophy monster. It says, he ran toward me, shouting in a long dead language. So now I have to choose between this white box, and this white box. And these 2 have elder signs. So I might not want to complicate things. I might just put them right here. Okay. And we advance to 3 o'clock, folks. I forgot to do that. Okay. And now we proceed. So I am going to, where do I want to go? This is pretty doable. I would suffer 2 stamina and 2 of these, but this is really realistic. And I would get an elder sign. So I'm going to go here to the When Night Falls adventure card. This is worth 2 trophies, folks. I haven't yet gone for one that's worth 2 trophies. It says, once the sun set, the distant stars glowed above the dark-filled roof of the museum. All right, so these are the tasks I got to fulfill. These are the consequences, 2 stamina and 2 sanity. But I get a clue token, a unique item, and an elder sign, which would be my first elder sign of the game. This game is going pretty slow. So far, I have no elder signs, and there's only 1 doom token. But the game quickly progresses and surprises you if you take it for granted. So I'm not going to add any dice to my pool because I feel pretty confident about this one here, especially with my clue tokens. So I don't have to fulfill these in any particular order. I have a peril. I have one of these. Oof. You know what, folks? I'm going to use a clue token because I needed 2 scrolls. I only rolled 1, and I needed a peril, which I did roll. So I'm going to re-roll these 4, hoping for another scroll. And I got it. Let's go. So I got 2 scrolls and a peril. And I do have this, but again, you need to roll. You can only address 1 task at a time. So even though I have this, which will be helpful for the next task, I have to wait and re-roll. That's the challenge of Elder Sign. So I re-roll these, and I did not roll that. So I'm going to... Oh, this is tough. I'm going to spend another clue token, guys. I'm going to spend another clue token to re-roll all 3 of these dice. Oh, I did not get it. Okay, so I'm going to set... Because I failed, there is no... terror consequence here. I'm going to set aside or discard 1 die, and now I re-roll the next 2. And I did not get it again. Ooh, I got a tough decision. You know what, guys? I'm going to set aside 1. Here we go. And I didn't get it, but you know what? I'm finally going to use this. I'm going to use my Voice of Ra to change any die to the face of my choice. I discard this card by placing it on the bottom of this little spell deck here, and I'm going to change this to search into a terror symbol and fulfill the task or the last task for this adventure. So that's awesome. I place my player piece back in the entrance. I will gain this as a trophy, and I'll gain a reward of 1 clue. I spent 2, but at least I got 1 back. And I will get a unique item. No, you know what? I'm feeling pretty good with my unique items. I'm going to get a common item instead. I got whiskey. It says I could discard this card instead of losing 1 sanity. Okay, that's not too bad. All right, set these aside. And I get an elder sign. My first elder sign of the game. I need 14 in order to beat Azathoth. All right. And we replace this adventure right here. So we're doing good, guys. We're doing really, really good. I think I want to open a portal. Give ourselves a little bit more space. Wait, let me advance the time here. Keep on forgetting. 6 o'clock. So I'm gonna go over here because I want to open a portal. So let's look at this adventure card right here. It's called The Writing on the Wall. First of all, it's worth 2 monsters. The flavor text says, "The words rewrote my past. Where I had succeeded, they told me of my failure and my sudden disappearance. This has a terror effect. You discard 1 trophy of your choice if you ever suffer the terror consequence. And there's just 1 task, but it's 3 spots, and one of them requires 5 search. So this is not as easy as it may look at first glance, but this has some really wonderful benefits. First of all, let me see right here. Where's that? Okay, so first of all, it has this symbol right here, the Doom symbol. So I would add another Doom token to the Doom track if I fail. But I gain a spell. I open a other world card, which gives me more opportunities to gain elder signs and stuff like that, and it spreads out the board. And I gain a common item, or in my case, I could exchange it for something else. And I add a monster to the board. So let us do this. I will roll, and there is no arrow here, so I can fulfill these tasks in any order of my choice. The question is, you know what? I'm going to need a couple dice for this. So you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to spend my Necronomicon, discard it, place it on the bottom. It gives me a red die to add to my pool, and it also gives me another clue token. And what's the special about the red die? What's special about the red die is, first of all, it does not have a terror side. So that's great, because terrors can potentially have some consequences. And also it has a 4 search side, which none of the green ones do. The yellow one does have one of these, I believe, but it also has this wild, and that wild can be used for anything you want. So this one is very beneficial in that sense. Okay, so let's try to do this, folks. Okay, I did roll the wild. You want to try to hold on to your red die as long as possible because it's so versatile. So what do I want to fulfill? Do I have a scroll? Yes, I do. Do I have a peril? Yes, I do. Do I have 5? Well, this could become a 4, and this could become a 5. This is my best bet, guys. I am going to do this. So there's that. And now I'm going to re-roll these 3 in hopes that I roll either a peril or a scroll. The cultists are so easy to win. Either one of those would help you defeat them. So I got a peril, folks. So I was able to do that. All right, so we're going to set these aside. I defeat the cultists here. I add it to my pool of trophies. And I will get a spell. Do I want the spell? Yes, I do, guys. I'm going to get the spell here. And this gives me, the enchant weapon. And this little symbol here, this purple square here, indicates that at any time when you roll, you can set aside a die and the same value. You don't change its face value. You can set a die apart on this card. And eventually, any turn in the future, any player in a multiplayer game, and of course yourself, can get that die and add it to their task completion, right? However, whenever you do remove the die that was on this card, you do discard the spell. So just like any other card, it has a one-time use. So I'm going to set it there. So this is really cool. It's different from focusing. Focusing, you can only do on a failed roll. And when you focus, while you put a die in the same face value that it has on top of your character card, a character sheet, and save it for a future turn that round, first of all. And also, you have to discard one of the dice or one die from your pool. So there is a consequence of focusing. So focusing is very helpful, but not quite as good as these particular type of spell cards. So that's awesome. All right, so I got that. Now I will open up another world. That's another reward. Let me put this red die away because I no longer have it. So here are the other world cards. I'm going to put it right here. And also let me replace this adventure card right here. And I'm also going to get a common weapon. Is that what I want? You know what? Instead, I'm going to get a unique item. And I got the Ruby of Ryleh, which gives me an additional red die to roll. And then finally, we add a monster to the board. Draw one randomly from in here. And we've got the Fire the fire vampire. It says here, amid the flames, I could see something small coming closer to me. And first of all, this guy has this scroll task to add to whatever board he goes onto, but he also has this yellow symbol with a lock. This means he's gonna lock the yellow die from the game until he is defeated. So that's important to know. So there's only, we're gonna prioritize with the white boxes. There's only one white box right here. So there we go. And I probably want to get rid of him because until he is defeated, I will not be able to defeat or use the yellow die. So let me advance the clock here to 6 o'clock. And my guy goes back to the entrance sheet. And now let's see what we want to do. So as I said, I might want to go here, even though I'm going to need 3 terror symbols, which is pretty tough. I do have some clue tokens, and I can use one of my unique items, and it might be worth it. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go to this adventure card here. Let me read what it says first. This is the you become that which you fear most. And it's worth 2 trophies. It says the sickness and the fear have become so ingrained in me that I can no longer imagine a life without unending dread. This is the card that had that at midnight effect. That's irrelevant until the clock strikes midnight. And I just had to fulfill within 1 roll 3 terror symbols. That's going to be pretty tough. If I fail this adventure altogether, I'll lose 1 sanity. But if I succeed, I add a monster, I gain a clue token, a unique item, and an elder sign. And most importantly, I'll be able to defeat this guy and release the yellow die that's locked. So there's also a scroll symbol for this task. Okay, so I am going to play one of these. I'm going to play the Lamp of Alhazred. I'm going to discard it, place it on the bottom of the deck here, in order to add the red die to my pool and increase my chances of getting this, because I have to get this all in 1 roll. So here we go. I need 3 of these. I did not roll a single terror, so I will spend a clue token here to re-roll them, because right now is the best time to re-roll because I have 7 dice and increases the probabilities, right? So here we go. And I didn't get a single one to top it all off. Okay, at least I got 1 terror, so I'm going to set it aside. And remember, I have to get this all in 1 roll, so I can't just set this aside. I could focus this. You know what? Focusing might be worth it. You know what? I'm going to do it. I might regret it. I'm going to focus. And by focusing, I set it aside. I have to discard a die here. Let's see what we do here. Okay, I got a second symbol. And, folks, I got, with the red die, I got the wild, which, again, you could use for anything. So, I will pick this card, this die back up that I focused, and I will fulfill this task. But I still need to get the bad guy right there, the monster. So I need to roll a scroll. Let's see. Got it. Got the scroll right there. Okay, so I was able to complete both tasks here. I'll set aside the red die. The yellow die is unlocked again. I add this monster to my pool here. And let's see here. So I'll add this adventure to my pool, but I will also populate the board with 1 more monster. But before I do, let me add a clue token, the one that I used. Let me add a unique item right here, and I got the alien statue, which adds 1 red die to my supply whenever I discard it. And let me get my second, I should say, elder sign of the game. Okay, and we will replace this here, and we will advance to 9 o'clock. So now I think what I'm gonna do, oh man, I better use these spells before I'm about to discard these spells. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. I'm going to discard this Find the Gate spell because it's about to be midnight, and I'm going to have to discard 1 spell if able. I'm going to discard this. All this does is it adds another Otherworld card to the board here, so that's awesome. And I think I'm going to use this enchant weapon on this very turn. I'm going to go here to Yugoth. Yes, I am. I'm going to go to Yugoth. So here's my player piece. And let's see what it says here. So Yugoth is another world card. It's not your typical adventure card. It's worth 2 trophies. And it says, I found myself in a cold, dark place. When I looked to the sky, gods. When I looked to the sky, the sun was so small, so distant, I could feel all the miles between myself and home. All right. And these are the tasks, a little bit tough, but not too many. I will suffer 2 sanity and 1 stamina if I fail, and I will gain 2 elder signs, a unique item, and a common item if I succeed. Okay, so here we go. This is very, very important to me. So I am going to use a common item and a unique item to add the yellow and red dice to my pool. Just increase my chances. That's all I'm trying to do. Increase my chances here and see what we do. Okay, so first of all, let's see if I've got the peril and the... Yep, I do. So I got the peril and I got the terror, so that's fulfilled. Now I will re-roll the remainder, and all I need is 8 worth of search. And I got 1 worth of search. You know what? It's not worth spending anything, so I'm just going to discard 1 die and for failing, and I'm going to re-roll. And I need 8, and I got exactly 8 right here. 4, 3, 7, 8. Awesome. So I fulfilled the task here on this other world card. I will add this to my trophy supply. I will get two elder signs right here, so I'm at 4. And I will get a unique item and a common item to replace what I just used. I have the 38 revolver here, and I have the cultistic ghouls. So they each add a yellow and red die respectively. I will add this to my supply. No adventure card to replace. Place these 2 back over here. And I will advance the clock 3 hours. And we are at midnight yet again. Or was that midnight before? Oh man, I think I might have missed midnight, folks. I apologize. Okay, so it's midnight and we're looking at the lingering effect. Pardon me if I did fail. The next time the clock strikes midnight, each investigator must discard 1 spell if able. Well, I am able, so I will discard this enchant weapon right here. We flip over a new mythos card, and it says a heavy burden. Either add 1 doom token to the doom track, or 1 investigator with 4 or more sanity must lose 3. I do not even have 4 or more sanity. I have exactly 3, so I don't even have a choice. I will have to add a token to the doom track, and the doom tracks... All the doom tracks for the different elder ones look different, but whenever you see that little blank spot here with a symbol, it might be hard to make out, but that's the monster symbol. So whenever a doom track is placed on one of those circles, it instigates the placement of a monster. Not to mention that we have to look for any at midnight cards. All right, here. This guy has an at midnight effect. For each other world card in play, add 1 doom token to the doom track. Luckily for me, I got one of the other world cards out of play, but there's still 1. So we're going to add 2 to the doom track, and we're going to add 1 monster to the board. Here we go. So we have the cultist again, and because there is no spot on any of these cards, none of them with the white borders, there is no mandatory place to place this, so I could place this in any card of my choice, right? The only thing that's important with placement when you have the choice is that you need to distribute evenly. So you could never put 2 on 1 card until every other card has at least 1. So let me see here. I think I'm going to place it on this one. It's not too hard. And if I don't get it, I probably wouldn't mind so much. Actually, no, let me put it here. I think I like this one. This allows me to open another world. Okay, so there we go. Now it is my turn, and I am actually going to show you what the entrance sheet looks like. This is what I'm going to do for my turn. And basically, this gives you lots of very helpful options, as a matter of fact. So first of all, I can receive first aid. I could choose one of the following treatments. I could either heal 1 sanity and 1 stamina for free, or I could pay 2 trophies to fully regain either my stamina or my sanity. That's very helpful for one of them when one of them is running low. Or I could pay 4 trophies to fully regain both stamina and sanity. So these trophies, again, are very, very helpful. The other thing I could do, and I could only pick one of these, by the way, is search the lost and found. And this is kind of like a little press your luck. I will roll my die, and if I roll a search item symbol, which is half of the die, 3 out of the 6 faces, I'll roll just 1 green die. I lose either 1 sanity or 1 stamina, my choice. But if I roll a scroll, I gain a clue token. If I roll a peril, I gain a common item. And if I roll a terror, I gain a spell. So this is a little bit of push your luck. Finally, you have buy a souvenir. You could buy 1 and 1 only, either for 1 trophy, a clue token, for 2 trophies, a common item, for 3 trophies, a unique item, for 4 trophies, a spell, for 5 trophies, an ally, or for 10 trophies, an elder sign, right? So I'm here. I'm feeling pretty good with my sanity, definitely my stamina. I haven't lost a single one. So I'm going to use some of these, trophies. Right now I'm feeling pretty good. I've got 2 unique items. I only got 1 yellow die common item. So I think I'm just going to spend a simple 2. I'm going to spend these 2 trophies right here as currency. I'll just set this aside. And for that, I get a common item added to my hand or my supply. I have a 45 automatic. Awesome, to go with my 38 revolver. So you could only buy one of those. So now we will advance to 3 o'clock. And this is pretty much it, folks. This is what the game looks like. You continue the sequence of rolling the die. Again, you're factoring in terror effects and at midnight effects, trying to keep control of the monsters, and so on and so forth. This game comes with tons of variety straight from the box. There's like 4 expansions that add tons of content to this game. If you like this type of theme, if you're a fan of these type of games, dice rolling games, it's very abstracted, not nearly as mechanically immersive as Eldritch Horror might be. But at the same time, if you like this type of game, it plays very, very well solo. So comment down below. Tell me what you think about this gameplay. Tell me if you've played Eldritch Sign before. Perhaps you liked it. Perhaps it gave you a bad impression. This is Harry from When Harry Met Board Games saying take care, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, and have fun gaming. Bye-bye.